I want to talk for a moment about where we stand, where we stand in now in society. Um, my dad contacted me and told me that evidently the CDC has two prospective antibiotics that may work on coronavirus, and that's great. That's awesome. I hope that stuff works. I hope it's true. Um, but we're still going to have some tough times ahead. I've been talking about this. For one thing, I think there's going to be a lot of bankruptcies, and nobody's talking about this. Even before coronavirus, I remember hearing stories about, like, there was a lady in New York that would get seizures or something, and she had ruled on the back of her backpack that if she got hurt, don't call the ambulance because she didn't have health insurance. A lot of folks are like that. I'm like that. One major incident could completely ruin you. I'm looking at, my grandfather had to go to the hospital once. He lived on Batesville Road, Charlotte, which is well within the city limits. They came and got him, just drove him to the hospital. The bill was over $1,000. They didn't put no IV in him. They didn't do CPR. They didn't shock him. They didn't even put him on a stretcher. He walked in there and sat down in the ambulance. I think sat down. They took him up there. And I followed along. That was it. I tell you, hospitals in Charlotte, some weird stuff going on in them hospitals here tonight. Yeah, I didn't really believe in people who are demon possessed and stuff, but you go to some of these major hospitals late at night and it makes you wonder. Whew. So, people that get sick with this disease that wind up paying $3,000, $4,000, be quarantined and treated. The treatment. $1,000 for an ambulance. That's about $4,000. Because $3,000 for the CT scan. That's right. For the glass in your lungs. So you got like $4,000 bill, right? You're in quarantine for 2 weeks, so you didn't work. So that's a couple of bills right there. Your rent's gonna be affected. So that's we're about $6,000 in the hole. About $6,000 right there. Even if you let your phone fall. Your car's gonna probably be repossessed at some point there. Yeah. So just in a month, you're $6,000 in the hole. This is what I'm talking about. I don't, even if you get a cure for this thing, I see a lot of bankruptcies. I see a lot of folks losing their cars and their houses behind this stuff. I don't see a positive, I see possibly a famine. I've talked about that before. People aren't working. You've got China has gone 3 months. Well, they weren't working for 3 months, so their system shut down. I don't see a Wuhan-like lockdown in America happening. And I've said it before, it isn't about money. It's because the American, or at least the Southern culture, is not collaborative. It's not. We're not collaborative. We don't wear masks. We don't respect other people's personal distance. We don't, especially it's in the South. It's the way it is. Nobody takes this stuff seriously, and nobody is going to use precautions. So, what else? I was looking at this guy I was talking about on the Turkish report that once unemployment reaches 20%, everything breaks down. And he was like, we're going to reach 15%, no doubt. And someone was on there talking about how it sounds like handouts. So he's like, we need to have common sense. And I'm like, dude, they're laying people off because they're going out of business in some of these businesses, and they're having to shut down stuff because we're in a pandemic. You need handouts, stupid. because there won't be any jobs. Fucking morons. These crackers, they get me. Like, it gets me, and they talk like they're trying to prove that, oh, I'm working. But what they talk about is stuff that doesn't benefit anybody, but they don't even know that. It doesn't benefit anybody but themselves. There's one guy was talking about some kind of health insurance he got, and how Arkansas did this, and Arkansas did that, and he's not worried. Another guy's like, well, that's good for you. What about all the folks that don't have that insurance? You see what I'm talking about? They don't care. They just want to walk around with a gun and shoot anybody that isn't going along with the program. They're not even interested in taking a second to understand why the system is so fucked up, why people are having problems. They just want to walk around here and be a scourge on humanity. That's the redneck. That's how they are. They are the vagabond. They're just trying to protect the system that's collapsing. And then what got me was they were talking about how all that money was spent, was it $2 trillion or whatever spent for the corporations. And he was like, nothing to do with COVID. And I'm like, yeah, because that's capitalism. They're trying to protect their buddies. And they were like, the $340 million that was spent on the refugees. And I'm like, what are you talking about? That money was spent for corporations. If you want to talk about being frustrated, you want to talk about something's wrong, you want to talk about outrage. Why are we putting money into businesses that had all these big tax cuts and use that money not to get jobs, to fulfill things in the economy, to help people create lasting jobs? They bought back their stocks. Now you're giving them more money. Instead of talking about $300 million giving refugees, let's talk about that. You won't. Sometimes I go on conservative forums because see, these truckers, these rednecks, are like me. They're like you. They work for a living. They believe in capitalism. They believe in it. But when you have these capitalists just basically say, fuck everybody, it's like, do they understand they're being fucked too? They don't. They don't even get it. They're yelling at people about getting a handout. And one guy came on and was like, dude, you've got to be laid off to get that money. Like, sometimes I'm like, well, just quit your job and you'll get fired from your job and you'll get, and they're like, no, dude, you have to be laid off. You don't just quit to get that. That's not how that works. You know what I mean? I know what it is. They have to always have some kind of like narrative that everybody's trying to get a free buck and stuff, but that's not what's happening here. Like, what's happening is people are doing badly. See, these are the people that talk about Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. They don't care. They don't care about black folks getting shot down in the street by policemen, and they don't care about a regular, normal citizens who are working, who do have a legitimate job, who get laid off. They don't even care about that. They don't. They don't realize most people, a couple of weeks without a paycheck, will start having problems. I mean, I'm done. I don't see, like my dad, he just, like I said, in the beginning, he just thought, like, oh, well, they come with a cure. Dude, even if you have a cure, we're probably going to have a depression here in a moment. Like, people are not, this is not going to end tomorrow. You know, and it gets me how conservatives, nobody calls Trump on the fact that he said this is the flu. Trump said that this was just Democrat hoax. Nobody even says anything about it. Peace.